Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us. A manhunt is underway for a gunman suspected of fatally shooting the CEO of UnitedHealthcare. 50-year-old Brian Thompson was killed early Wednesday morning in Midtown Manhattan. The health insurance executive was walking into a Hilton hotel for a corporate event when he was gunned down. The suspect is being described as wearing a black face mask, gloves, and gray-colored backpack. He immediately fled on a bicycle and was last seen in Central Park. CBS News correspondent Meg Oliver has the details, and we want to warn you, some of the images and the information could be disturbing.
We have a male shot coming over in the north.
Just after 6:45 a.m., surveillance video captured a man wearing a mask and carrying a gun with a silencer, approaching UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson from behind and shooting him in the back and calf. CBS News has edited the video to crop out Thompson stumbling, then crumbling to the ground. The gunman can then be seen trying to unjam his gun before shooting again, then calmly walking across the street.
The shooter arrived at the location on foot about 5 minutes prior to the victim's arrival.
Officials say Thompson was alone and did not have a security team with him. He was rushed to the closest hospital, where he was later pronounced dead less than a half hour later. Today, his wife told NBC News that her husband had been receiving threats before the shooting. Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch.
Every indication is that this was a premeditated, pre-planned, targeted attack.
Police released these images of the suspect, who they say took off on foot down an alleyway, then fled on a city bike.
We're still tracking video. The last we see with him on that bike is in Central Park.
Is there a way to track that bike?
There are GPSs on those bikes. We'll be working with the company.
Investigators say they recovered a cell phone near the scene and are conducting forensic analysis of the device to determine if it belonged to the suspect.
What do you make of him using a silencer?
It's concerning that a silencer was used, because using a silencer kind of means that the person might have been hired to kill Mr. Thompson.
Thompson had been with United Health Group for 2 decades and was made CEO of UnitedHealthcare in 2021. The company issued a statement saying it is deeply saddened and shocked at the passing of our dear friend.
Anna Schecter joins us now. She's the CBS News senior coordinating producer for crime and public safety. We work a lot on these stories together, Anna. We heard Meg say in the report, you see the silencer, you see how the person is directing this firearm at this person. But what is it that police determined made this a targeted attack?
Well, that was exactly part of it, that he was so cold and calculating. He knew exactly what he was doing, and he was waiting for about 5 minutes. He even had information about when the CEO was going to be entering the hotel, because he came just in time and was positioning himself behind a vehicle so that as soon as that CEO walked by on the sidewalk, and you saw that in that footage, he then emerged from behind the car and shot him in the back. But it wasn't just that. He then continued to fire several more rounds. He did not quickly run away. He calmly walked across the street and then started to pick up the pace, and we know later got on a city bike. We also have new information in from the NYPD that it's not just that they lost him in the southern part of Central Park. We know he exited on the Upper West Side, on the west side, and police continue to analyze more and more surveillance videos from those buildings and businesses on the west side. So we hopefully will know more tonight about where he wound up.
What do you think are the next steps? Because you think about it happening in daylight. You think about the number of cameras in a city like New York City. But take us inside what's next in terms of finding this suspect.
Well, this is hours of footage. If you pull it all together, it's an enormous investigative process. It is hard for us to believe how in one of the most populous cities in the world with so many cameras, could he have evaded detection? But he did. He used the cover of the park. He was very smart in how he got on that bike and went into the park where there were fewer surveillance cameras. Then surveillance cameras started to pick him up again on the Upper West Side. So I think we're getting closer. Now we know at least which side of the park. I mean, just a few hours ago, it's now 11 hours later. A long time has passed. So he has had time to put distance between himself and this crime, which is a problem for investigators. It's getting harder and harder.
Of course, they want to find the suspect first, but any idea on why this person targeted Brian Thompson?
There are working theories that investigators are chasing down, whether there were threats in general to this big pharmaceutical industry or to this health insurance company within the broader pharmaceutical industry, some rantings against the industry, generally mentioning the corporation that investigators are looking at. But our NYPD sources do not have information about direct attacks, a direct threat of an attack to his person that would endanger him. So we are still working that theory that it was somebody who was disgruntled, but we don't have that answer. And, you know, this can sometimes play out over days.
Oh, absolutely. Anna Schecter, thank you so much.
Thank you for
Good to
having
see
me.
you.